Good morning, everyone. We're back. It's another day, another stream.
It's another
Excited.
day.
This one's great because I'm actually with the OGs of couple ed tech goals or whatever. I don't know what to call them. I call it differently every time, and they're actually in separate places. So the stream is bringing couples together, and that just warms the cockles of my heart. So I'm with Kathy Chow Isaacs. I wear the crowns on Twitter, and her other half, that guy. No, I'll be nice. That's Steve Isaacs, Mr. Isaacs, Mr. underscore Isaacs on Twitter, and I'm Mike Washburn, and this is the part. Yes, they are social distancing chat. Social going hardcore on social distancing. Steve is in Ohio, and Kathy is home in Jersey. So here we are together, and I'm in Canada. So this is Max social distancing. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy to have everyone here. Wherever you are, hopefully everyone is safe and healthy and all of that stuff. We've been doing a lot of really cool stuff on the stream, talking about AR and VR and playing Minecraft and doing 3D stuff in Blender. And
we're learning a lot, Mike, aren't we?
Right. I mean, learning a lot. Make sure you're following us on Twitch. So if you haven't followed us already, go hit that follow button up at the top of the screen. Follow Inside Participate. We have a lot of really cool content still to come while we're all home, and social distancing, and working on a whole bunch of deals with a whole bunch of really cool people to work with us. And really excited about that. So make sure you're following all of that, all of our channels, Steve's channel as well, and make sure you're staying up to date for when we go live. So here we are.
I want to just give a quick shout out. I want to give a quick shout out to Renchi, who gets up with us at 6 in the morning every day.
Hi, Renchi.
What is up, Renchi?
Everybody else, we have a great crowd this morning already. We've got Kurt, We've got Nick, we've got the Armed Wither, we've got Becky, Steam Cultivator. This is great.
Becky?
Yeah.
Becky in
Seattle? No.
Another Becky.
Another Becky.
Okay.
So all the people are here.
Thank you for joining us.
I was actually talking about Nick just this morning to Steve because we were talking about the Humble Bundle, and Nick has a whole bunch of new games to play, which is exciting for him, I'm sure. New baby and all. Everyone needs some downtime, right? We are playing around and learning about GitHub and Makecode Arcade today, and this is Kathy's wheelhouse. This is her jam. So happy to bring on the source. So let's take it away. Tell us about Makecode Arcade.
All right. So Makecode Arcade is Microsoft's. Well, actually, Steve or Renchi could tell you even better. We should bring them on. But it's one of Makecode. Plain old Makecode is Microsoft's Learn to Code platform. And the thing that I love about it is that it's block-based, or it starts as block-based, which is very familiar to many people. And then it's scalable. So, you can start very early. I mean, you can do some pretty advanced stuff with Makecode Arcade. And then what's really awesome about Makecode is that you can connect it to devices. So there's the microbit, there's the Circuit Playground Express, you can use it with Minecraft, a bunch of other tools. And then there are a ton for Makecode Arcade. There are actually a ton of hardware devices that you can connect to, and maybe we'll, even Steve or Michael, make sure that, or someone in the questions, make sure that you remind us or remind me to show that part. But what I want to talk about today is certainly Makecode, but then also GitHub. So GitHub is a tool for version control. It's actually great for storage, which is awesome, and it's like the original social computing, coding kind of platform. So so many things that I love about it. And one, which you'll see, is that it's like if you use it, when you use it with students, they get a lot of real world and authentic experiences out of it. So I want to make sure I talk about that and like some of my ideas for some of the things that I'm working on. So
if I could say one thing on that too, I keep thinking of this as like, put this on the list of things I wish I taught my kids before we were out of school for this time.
Right.
You know, because so Makecode generally saves the files locally and almost, I think, cached even just in the browser that you're using. So I have a lot of students who are like, oh, I was working on that project in school, you know, but I don't see it now when I go into Makecode.
Yes, so let's actually, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so if we were able to, if I had the foresight, that would have been great to say, let's dedicate a lesson then. It'll still be valuable now, of course, and kids can now save their work to the cloud and collaborate and all these wonderful things. But I just wish that I had thought about that before.
Right. Well, maybe they'll watch the stream, or maybe you'll assign it or something like that. Yeah. So I do want to take a look at that, in case anybody's not familiar with Makecode. We're going to be working mostly in Arcade today. So I have, actually, you know what? Let's do this first. So I was just saying before the stream started that we're going to make a GitHub account, and it's really easy. So this is my, I want to say, 4th or 5th account that I've kept track of and been able to find. So I'm hanging out here at github.com. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say sign up. So I do have one spare email address here. I didn't have to make another one, but here's my username. I'll just say, I don't think anybody, I think somebody has this. Knives Chow, I don't know, 19. Yay. Okay. So Knives Chow 19, you just do an email address. I wear the crowns at gmail.com. My password is going to be my password. Hopefully you can't see it. And then I'm going to opt out of the email. I'm going to verify. And all you have to do is just make sure you're not a robot. You put the figurine straight up. You say done. You select a plan. And all you need is the free plan. What a great price, right? So you get unlimited public repositories, unlimited private ones. You can have up to 3 collaborators for your private repositories and all this extra stuff that doesn't really matter. But unlimited is great, and 3 collaborators. So this is for private. I haven't tried the public, but maybe we'll see today.
Can I pause us for a second?
Yes.
Mike, do you have Kathy's screen shared as well? Because right now this is mine.
Oh, is this your screen?
Yeah.
I thought it was Kathy's.
There we go.
Oh, wait, go back. So mine is the.
We got the right one now.
Oh, look at me. I am so not on the ball today. And I was like, guys, just trust me. I got this.
So funny. Mike gives us this big pep talk every day about how, you know, don't worry, showing the right screen. So I'm like petrified to cut in and even dare.
Oh, and you know what's funny? You know what's funny is that you mentioned it in the private chat too, and I didn't even notice. I would have noticed eventually, but you know, there we go. Hey, listen, guys, it's been a long week. It's been a long week.
We've been streaming every day for all this time.
Here we are. We're watching Kathy's screen now. We're in GitHub.
Okay. Well,
you know what would have been super slick, Steve, is if you had like done what she was saying as if it was her screen.
That would have been slick.
Along with me.
Man, oh man.
I'm just focused. I read a New York Times article maybe yesterday, on how to look your best on the video calls, and I have not been in my other setup, so I set something new up today to hopefully look better. So anyway, okay, here we go. So we're signing up. Sign up. Oh, and I already went through the process. So what happens is you do the verify, you choose the free, and then it'll say, oh, you have to verify your email address. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here to do that. And oh my, I hope I remember this password. Nope. That's it. Oh boy, where's my phone? Come on.
Very secure, very secure.
Very secure here. Okay, so I know, let's see, 927-527. Okay, here we go. I don't care. Remind me later. Let's see what kind of, I have one email. Yay. All right, GitHub. So you have to verify your email address, it asks you to sign in, and then it wants you to make your first repository. So we're going to skip making a repository for now. We're going to save that for MakeCode. But in case anyone doesn't know what a repository is essentially just a space for you to save all your files. So it's a folder. It's a fancy name for folder or directory. So that's a repository, and something I learned in my Moms Can Code when I did the coding camp, boot camp, is sometimes when you're cool and you're in the game, you call it a repo, which was confusing to me because repo to me means like repo man, repossess. So that was like a little weird double meaning thing. So we'll try to call it a repository and continue to call it that. And so that's cool too, because the language and the vocabulary that's used in GitHub, this is what's used in the real world, right? So if you're using this with kids, then they have that experience as well. Okay, so here's my repository. We made this. I don't think I'm going to use this anymore because we're going to go to MakeCode. Okay, so ta-da! Does everybody see? This should be MakeCode Arcade in Edge. Yes? Nothing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, good. All right, I'm just checking. All right, so this is MakeCode Arcade. This is the tool, the platform that lets you make pixelated arcade games. 8-bit, I guess. Retro gaming platform. So you'll see that I have a few tests. This is just the one on this computer. The other computer has about 40 projects. Now, Steve had mentioned this earlier. I am so excited about figuring out that GitHub exists here because MakeCode Arcade is browser-based, which is awesome. It means that you can work anywhere, but it also means that you have to be really meticulous about saving your work. So I always am like, oh yeah, this is my computer. I always use my computer, so my work is always up there. Well, that's not the case because I've lost so much work in MakeCode because, the browser updates, I need to empty the cache or whatever, and all my work is gone. So one of the things you can do, so let's actually go ahead and start a project and look at what happens with MakeCode Arcade. I also love MakeCode Arcade makes you name your project right away. So sometimes it doesn't, and then you're left with a lot of projects that are called untitled, which is the case for me. So I'm going to say this is my stream project. Okay, notice that you get these heart eyes emojis. MakeCode likes a descriptive yet concise project name. So I'm going to go ahead and say create. So here's my stream project. If you've done any learn to code with your students before, it's going to look kind of familiar. You have your workspace over on the right. You have all of your drawers that have commands by category and color coded, which is really awesome. Down over on the left side, because this is MakeCode, and that's something that I love about MakeCode. All the simulators, they're all hanging out on the right side. So whatever you code, you can see right away. You don't necessarily need a device to use this yourself or with your students. Okay, so cool. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and the other thing worth mentioning, because I always forget, I always want to save this to the end, but you can either code in blocks, or you can easily swap over to JavaScript and code text-based while typing, whatever. But we're going to stick with block-based for now. So with a game, you need to have some characters to tell your story, and those characters are called sprites. So we're going to go ahead and go in the sprites drawer, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull this very first block out that's called set my sprite to. So I'm going to pull that out, snap it right into on start, and so what will happen here is when the simulator starts, it's going to set a sprite to something. So right now it's just setting it to a blank, which is what you can see with the gray box here. I'm going to go ahead and click once on the gray box, and it opens up to a sprite editor. So you can just draw, like we draw with a mouse, brick kind of thing. Thank goodness for undo down here in the bottom right corner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a sprite. We have a 15 color palette, and I'm going to use the circle tool, and I'm going to draw I love this character right now. So I'm just drawing a face. Okay, so I'm going to use a fill tool with the same color, fill that in so I don't have to color it. And then I'm going to just make it pretty happy. This is, I was thinking the other day, yesterday, today. Oh, no, I don't like this smile. Wait a minute.
Who knows what day it is anymore?
I know. I don't know what day it is, but here.
I thought you were making a chocolate chip cookie for a second.
Oh, no, no. This is, look at how happy this person is.
Now I see, yeah.
Okay, and then, oh, wait. Who's this?
Are you going to be able to show us all of your cute
I hope so.
icons later?
Wait, who's that?
Oh, that's Mike Washburn. Mike's not laughing.
He's not. He should be. Wait, so I have my Sprite.
Wait, oh, you know what he's trying to do? I think he was trying to figure out how to get his face next to it to see the striking comparison.
All right, so there might be
it's a little, the hair, first off, okay.
But he needs one more little piece of hair at the top.
The hair's a little dark.
I know, but because
too.
of the selection of colors, it's only 15. So going for the brown, it's like 5 days of stubble on the top.
And I feel like I look.
I think it's spot on.
I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
what do you think? Do you think that much hair or a little less on the side?
Maybe he needs the headphones.
Maybe I need the
okay.
headphones.
Let's see. We'll make you some, but then they're gonna. Oh yeah, maybe.
You got to do like the band over the head.
I know. I'm working on the band, but now it's gonna.
We'll just go out a little. Go make the headphones
You
one
got
more
to make
thick.
the headphones a little bit thicker.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah. Sure. Here we go. That's transparent. That color there, and then we're gonna match it up. Sort of matching it up here. Oh, this one. Get rid of that. Oh wait. Oh, I got it. Here we go.
Make the ear part of the headphones just a little thicker, and then we got it
Here.
completely.
Oh.
Yeah, there. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, should it go here across or here?
Sure.
Okay.
we have just made 8-bit Mike Washburn live for all you people who are lucky enough to see it.
So, the pixel,
Perfect.
the sprite editor is defaults at 16 by 16. You can change the size, though you don't want it to be too big because you don't want to take up all of your screen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say done. You're going to see that little Mike, mini Mike is there. Oh, but you can't really see the background here because you can't see the background.
You can change that, I bet.
Yeah. So this is going to be in
scenes.
Oh, scenes. I know that. Okay. Set background color. And we're going to change the background color to, we'll change it to that light purple. It's going to reload and see that there's Mike. Okay. So now let's say this is where we are. We're like, okay, this is, after if I were teaching, it would be like, okay, let me explain everything. And then you have 5 minutes to work. So notice some things to notice down on the bottom here. Remember earlier, Makecode Arcade wanted us to name the project. It's hanging out down here, the name Stream Project. And you're going to see a couple of things on the bottom here. So there's Stream Project and then Save. So this is what Steve was saying earlier. When you save, the project is saved, so yay, I got it. But then it asks me here, this is Edge, what do I want to do with it? So this would be where I save it to the computer, right? So this is going to go into downloads, or, if your computer has some kind of cloud storage set up, the kids might have a OneDrive, or they might have Google Drive, and you can just dump it in there, and then it'll be saved in the cloud. Notice tool too that the project is a PNG file, which we thought was kind of interesting. Like, what? Everything else is Makecode, but this is PNG, and you'll see a little bit later why. So I'm going to.
The thing I think is so interesting about that is that's an image file. So what it's doing is it's embedding the code in that image, which I don't know. It's pretty amazing.
And you'll see it come up. I mean, I don't know if you had noticed it in some of the other files, but anyway, or if you don't have that set up, you can save to a flash drive and pull it off and bring it home back and forth that way. So let's say for now that it is, we'll just, I don't even know what I have set up on this computer. Oh, I guess I do have this. No, you know what? I'll just throw it in downloads because there's nothing here. So I'm going to go ahead and say save, and yay, it's downloading, and there it is. So that's saved. So that's going to pull it down to the computer, pull it over, you know, you put it in your cloud storage. There's also download. So there are a lot of things down here. Download is flashing this code over to hardware or a device. So if I had something connected, I could flash it over there. The other cool thing is that you can choose your hardware from here, which is kind of neat because there are, like I said, there are a lot of different possibilities for the hardware. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to come right over here next to the 3D printed save button. There's a button with what looks like a cat, but it's like an octo cat. So right here is where you would create the GitHub repository. So I'm going to go ahead and click on GitHub. We need to sign in, and luckily, you know, we made an account. I'm not actually going to use that one, but so I'm going to say sign in. If you didn't have an account, you could create the account right from Makecode. You don't have to do it first, but I just took that step out of it because I've signed in before. It knew who I was and remembered, so I signed in. If it's your first time, you have to log in with your credentials. And notice here's my repository. I have to give it a name, which it took from the project. It's good practice. It gives you a little space for a description for the repository. It is good practice to put a description in here. So I'll say this is the project mini mic project for stream. Okay. And I'm going to say, oh, and then your choices are public or private repository. We'll go ahead and make this one public so that anyone can look at your code. So like, why would you do that, right? I guess one thing that we always try to teach the kids is, this is your private stuff. You need to make sure nobody else can see it, right? And this is like, I've been saying this for years and years and years, but when it comes to social coding, you make things public because you do want people to see it. You want people to look at it and improve upon it and give you suggestions and stuff. So, so we're going to go ahead and make this public, and we're going to say, go ahead. And it makes the repository, and then okay, what you notice down here next to the GitHub icon is there was a little check, and then what it wants us to do is now there's an up arrow also. So this is review your code and commit the changes for stream project. So what it did was it made a local repository, and then so you have a copy on your computer or and on your browser, and then you have to push the changes up to GitHub. So there is a process. So you review what happened. So right now it says some blocks removed or changed. They really weren't, but this is what it looks like the first time. You're pushing the code. What you want to do is you want to, again, describe your changes. Okay, so this is so that someone else that's looking at the code can know what you did in this particular iteration. I threw in Steve's favorite word. So that they know what's going on. So this is for more than just you, because the idea is when you're coding, you're really not just coding for yourself, you're coding on a team, right? And so somebody else needs to be able to come in and say, oh, all right, this is what you were hoping to do. Did you do it? Yeah. Did you not do it? Let me try to help you fix that or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and describe the changes again, about 50 characters. So mini mic, added mini mic sprite. Okay, and it just has to be that simple. And you say commit and push the changes. So you'll see that that's going to happen. So you could push the changes without that little description, but I think it's really good practice. And if you are using it with students, to build that habit with them, because that's what you do in real life. Notice also here that we have a path. It's I Wear the Crowns. That's my GitHub repository stream project. And then there's a hashtag master, right? So the master is like the main, or yeah, the main, the version, the main version, the official one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, oh, wait, let's look at this too. Over on the right side of this review GitHub code, you have a few options. We're just going to take a peek. This first one is to open the repository in GitHub. We'll look at these two a little bit later. So let's look at GitHub. So we thought, oh my gosh, we have like, 3 blocks of code. The coding, the back end is creating all of these files inside of GitHub. So, okay, I'm looking at this. What am I really looking at? The code is here in the Makecode folder, .makecode. And if we look, oh, and you kind of can tell because the description, it tells you what the last thing you did was. And you can also look at the time that it was updated. So that's the clue. If we look at Makecode, you'll see that there's blocks PNG. And if we open that up, you're going to see that the blocks that we coded in Makecode Arcade are hanging out here. And I'm just going to go back a little bit, and I want to talk about one other thing, which I think is so, so cool. And maybe this is what Steve was thinking too. Now, in GitHub, or in coding, your important files are your code, but then also the README. So when Makecode creates a repository for you, it also creates a README. So this tells you about the project. So your README file is not quite your design document, but it tells the other users what you intended to accomplish with this project, and what's going, and all the version updates. So if you look at the README and you look at the pencil here, so the pencil lets you edit the README. Okay, so what I have been doing is I've been saying, okay, I'm just going to do a daily update in my README. So I added mini mic sprite to the project. I created repository first save. So I can add a little more details. I also kind of have been adding the time that I did this. So in case I'm doing this many times. Now, this might seem a little redundant. I would use the README as like kind of a bigger picture document, because what I'm going to do here is now I want to save this, right? So we're also used to things saving on their own. With GitHub, you have to say, I really mean to save this. So what you have to do is you commit the changes, which is making a 50 character or less kind of a brief note. So update the README. And D, if you want to talk more, you have space to do that. And then here are 2 choices. We want to commit this directly to the master branch, or do we want to create a new branch? So for now, we're going to commit this directly to the master branch, because that's the main, the program. We only have one so far. So we're going to go ahead and say commit changes, and then the README has been updated. Okay, so the documentation, recording of progress or process is, to me, is really, really important. It's maybe more important than the final result, but that's just me. So anyway, okay, so that is seeing the repository in GitHub. Okay, so let's go back to Makecode and see what we can do with mini mic. Whoops. Oh, please don't tell me I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now, what you'll notice too is that the GitHub has a down arrow. So any changes that you make elsewhere, you might want to update on your local copy. So we did make some changes in the README. We don't really have to pull those changes down. So that's the other vocabulary or term. One is pushing the changes up, and one is pulling changes down. So
I have a question.
Yep.
So with the, like, I understand when you're changing, if I change code because we're working together, then it would obviously make sense for you to pull it. If you were to pull it now because you made changes to the README, is that being stored somewhere locally, or aren't we so sure?
I think that it is, because if you look, okay, so we'll look in a different place. I'll go ahead and pull the changes. So I just clicked on that GitHub icon. I'm going to say pull changes. All it's doing is it's pulling, it pulled what I did. Now, if you go here to advanced and extensions, what you're going to see is that there is one of the extensions is the Steam project, and you'll see that it's saved locally.
Ooh.
So I think that part of it does pull all those files somewhere.
Click on that. Click on that.
All it's going to do is to bring this up.
Okay, so it's still just, for Makecode's sake, it's just the code still. That's neat. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Mini Mike, come on. Get back. All right, so anyway, all right, I'm here. I have this. And what I want to do is I maybe want to work on this at home. Okay, so, okay, great. I'm going to just hide this for a second. And here I am at, in a different browser, because I use a different browser at home. So Makecode Arcade, I'm going to start that up. Okay, how do I get to this work that was in GitHub? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import it. And when you import, you'll see that there are several different ways that you can do it. I could totally, let's say I had that file that I saved earlier. I can import this file. This would just you go through the process of finding the file, bring it up. I'm not going to do that, and just open it. You can also import a URL. So had I saved the GitHub URL, I could copy and paste it right in here. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my GitHub repo. See, there it is, my repository. Okay, so I need to sign in. Fine. Remember, I'm on a different browser. I'm quote unquote at home. So again, the browser knows that it's me. So I'm going to say import. I'm going to choose, notice it's a little bit different now. It wasn't the giant icons. I'm going to say GitHub repo. And because I'm connected to my GitHub, I can do any of these things. So I have a lot of repositories in here. I could create a brand new one if I wanted to, but what I want is I want my stream project. And look, Mini Mic project for stream. That's the one I want. Okay, and I'm going to click on that, and ta-da! It is here at my home computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working on this. So I need to make another sprite. I'm going to go ahead and make this sprite a second one. I'm going to change the name of it, so I'm just going to call this one my sprite 2 because I'm lacking creativity, but look, I'm going to just change it so simply. Oh, but wait, now he needs different hair.
Don't we need the red hoodie?
Yeah, we do.
Hoodie? Who's got a hoodie?
That's the other day from his skin that he made. Remember?
You like my red hoodie, right?
Two. Okay, so wait. This one's sprite 2. So I'll make a one with a different hoodie, a different.
I'm wearing a blue hoodie today.
And then we'll do. Oh, I can't just do. I could do a line.
I just want to say while you're doing that, and the super cool thing that I hope you all see now is once you have that connection established and you kind of have your GitHub set up and you're using Makecode, it becomes seamless to go back and forth. Because GitHub for me was always so she's cracking herself up. GitHub for me always seemed so scary and elusive and whatever, and Makecode, I think, is such a great way to introduce people to GitHub because, the kids are becoming comfortable in this Makecode environment, and it just starts out with an easy, kind of way of them going back and forth and using GitHub and all that. And hopefully we'll play around with collaborators in a little bit too. I hope so too.
Okay, so I have 2 sprites here. Wait, I need the red one. Now I need the red hoodie here. Okay, and I'm using the square tool.
Kathy, you crazy.
Okay, red hoodie. Mike now has a red hoodie. Okay.
There we go.
Oh my goodness. All right, wait. Oh my goodness, wait. All right, Layla's probably back there like, oh my God, please shut up. All right, she's in the next room. So now Mike is gonna say, Hey,
that's exactly what I say. Or rad, right, Steve?
Rad. Oh wait,
yeah, rad.
Hold on. My sprite 2 says hello. And then my sprite, oh wait, my sprite 2, and my sprite 1 is going to say rad.
Hello.
Okay, but then you have to do, okay, but see right now, they're all at the same time. So we have to say, my sprite is going to say A for 2 seconds. Then we have to pause for 2 seconds so that nothing else happens. And then we're going to say, my sprite 2 says hello for 2 seconds. We're going to pause it. So all I'm doing, I'm duplicating code. And then rad for 2 seconds or whatever. Just say rad is at the end. Okay, let's see. Hey, what's going on? I lost something.
Maybe refresh the code thing, yeah.
Where's my sprite 2? Oh, there. Hello, rad. Hello. That was not rad. Oh, because I'm taking that off. Okay, so let's try that again. Hey. Oh, background color would be there.
Also, I guess the 2 seconds is making, so you could put the sprite in there. Sprite 2 you could put in there from the beginning.
Oh,
put sprite 2 above the 2000.
Got it. Okay, so the only thing I don't like is this. I don't like how you have to pull all the code. I'm gonna have this one.
No.
I got it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you upload audio?
Makecode
like you can in Scratch?
My guess is that you can. But I'm not sure. I know that
totally play music.
Other Makecode things, other Makecode tools. I don't know what would you call like each part of it?
Well, we say that they're drawers. Is that
no, not the drawers. Like if I wanted to do microbit.
Oh, okay. Well, so Makecode is the coding environment, and it works with many different devices, including a number of physical computing devices.
I know, but what would you call the microbit part versus the circuit playground part versus like I want to call those things tools, but I don't think that is the right term.
Makecode for microbit.
Okay. If you want to use, like, I know that some of the other tools, I think that you can record, but you can say play a tone. So, Mike, I don't know if you're asking about
me saying A and then you recording it.
Oh, you know what?
Like we could totally do that in Scratch.
Okay, so maybe, and then there's definitely in in the advanced there are other extensions. So I have not gone that far, but I do know like with this music, you can play many different tones, and you can certainly compose a whole song in here. Okay, so this is me, quote unquote, at home. So I need to say, all right, I'm pushing this up to my GitHub so that I can use it again at school. Okay, so I'm going to say added sprite 2 and dialog. Okay, so I'm going to say commit and push the changes.
Yeah.
And then there it goes. This is going to go up to GitHub. So now the next thing is let's add a collaborator, right? So sometimes you're going to want to add.
Oh, Steve's excited now. He gets to play with his wife. He gets to make things.
We're about 500 miles apart right now. I want to be able to code together at least.
So, you have to confirm your password, so that somebody's not just coming to your computer and saying, yeah, you could be a collaborator. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to invite a collaborator, and I'm looking for, wait, am I looking for Steve I? Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Or Whams.
No,
so
Steve I.
You just start typing, and if it recognizes that person as a user, then you can just click on them and add them to the project. What will happen is this is a pending invite, and if you look up at the top right of my GitHub, you're going to see that there's a notifications, and I guess I have some notifications. I might be watching, I'm watching some other things, but Steve would look up at his notifications in his GitHub, and there's an invitation, and he would accept it. And
show my screen. Show my screen.
Oh, show my screen. There we go. I'm on it. I got it. There's your screen.
So look at this, invitation to join I Wear a Crown stream project from I Wear the Crowns. So I'm going to accept this invitation. Now I have this repository. Now, if all goes well, I believe the best way for me to do this is to go to, oh, interesting. So,
all right. So can I talk about that just a
yes,
little
please.
bit? Okay, cool. So, Mike, if you could show, I don't even know which one. Oh, show my screen again.
Yeah.
Like, what do I want you to do? I want you to show my screen. Okay. So now notice here. So Steve's gonna accept that, and then he's gonna be able to make changes to this project. So the thing that I had mentioned was that this is the master. So like this project right now is perfect. Let's say that. Okay, let's say it's perfect. And Steve's like, oh, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna code together, collaboratively code. But what could happen is Steve could go in and write some code, and then what was perfect is no longer perfect. So what you would do here is you would come, if you look at this, this is the master branch. And what you would do is you would make a new branch based on the master, and you would call this, I'm going to call this new features for lack of a better name. And we're going to say create. So now what happens is you have a version that is not touching the master. And then what you can do is you can initiate a pull request inside of GitHub to say, hey, look at this thing that I built. If you like it, then then we can merge the changes and upload that, put that in the master. If you don't like it, I can just leave it. We can also just leave it as a branch and then keep working on it.
Is there a limit to how many people can be on a GitHub, like in GitHub at the same time in terms of like having access to a file? Is there any sort of limitations, or can you have a maximum? I guess there's like, I think there's like an enterprise version of GitHub and stuff like that?
So that for pay, when we created the account, we have the for free, and then for pay, I think it has maybe you can set up more
teams and stuff like that.
Right. But for this, I have not. So this is public. It says up to 3 collaborators. So I will put in, maybe I'll put in Knives. I'll look for, oh, you know what? I think Knives Chow maybe has no work in here. So I got to say,
well, while you're doing that, I got to say that one of the funniest things about running the stream is that I can see what everyone's screens are doing, even if they're not. Yeah, and now Steve laughs. I can see everyone's screens, even the ones that aren't being shared. And so I can totally see the absolute
don't say
banality nonsense that Steve Isaacs is up to right now.
Oh, really?
On his screen. I'm looking at my Google Calendar trying to multitask here because I'm working my ass off, and Steve is drawing happy faces on his. So that's what's going on over here, friends. All right, let's get back to Kathy now.
Yeah. So no, well, I mean, I'm not surprised by what you're observing.
What are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, you're the same. You are who you are, no matter where you are. So here, the branching is actually kind of a great feature because it's kind of funny. It's like, okay, I'm working on Google Slides with my whole team, right? And then someone on the team is like, well, you're right, it could be me. What are you doing with this layout and this design and this style? And redoes the whole thing, right? And changes all your slides. You come back in the next morning, you're like, my slides, what happened? So here with the branching feature, you could take this project and you can make all the changes you want, but it's not going to be the master unless you're committing it right to the master. So that is also something that you can do inside of in the GitHub. Like you could choose to, I forgot where that is, but you can choose, this is not what I wanted. So I was in the README, and I'm going to go ahead and update it. I'm going to say, This is just for example, 4:02:20, and it is now this time. Sorry, I'm rushing. So second sprite and conversation. What?
So here's a question. So I just, added some brilliance to this project, and I'm about to commit the changes. But if you've been working on it at the same time, I mean, there is the possibility.
So then that's the thing. It is, yes. So you could be working right in the master. So there's nothing that says you can't work right in the master.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if you change something, I don't know how we could go back. You should be able to.
So I'm going to hit, can I take a chance here and commit and push changes just to see it happen?
Sure.
Boom. So I'm doing that.
Okay, so I'm not seeing your screen. I don't know what's happening.
Okay, now it was committed, so I so believe. Let's see. Now on your screen, you would have to go back.
I still have mine is checked. So,
refresh it though to see if, because that's interesting because I did commit.
So now the other thing about kind of pushing and pulling to GitHub that I've noticed is that like sometimes you'll see on the bottom, it seems like it's this computer. So this computer, yesterday I set a timer. I was like, okay, let's see. I did some work on the Surface in a repository, and I pushed the changes up, and then I was looking for something to change on this side. In terms of sometimes what'll happen is this GitHub icon, it'll change from a check mark to a down arrow so that you know, oh, there's some changes that I need to pull. But what I found was that going from the Surface to this computer, it didn't do that. But if I was working on the big computer and watching the Surface knew to check for changes and would tell me, oh, you should do a pull. So anyway, so in case that's not happening, your best practice is always to do a pull first. Before you start working, you do a pull so you have...
which I imagine I did because I was able to bring down your project, which was great. Then I worked on it, and then I would push it.
Like you did the right thing. You pulled down because you said you're going to make changes. You wound up pulling what existed from GitHub, and then you're pushing something, but you haven't made any new changes. Like if you come back to this project in a half an hour, what you should do is you should pull changes so that so that you have the most current.
But I guess what I'm saying is I did make a change, but you're not seeing it yet.
No, I'm not. But then also look at where I am. I'm in a new features branch, right? So I'm in new features. If I went to master, okay, and I pulled the changes, I might see that there's something new.
Oh, there's a push for you.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, Lord,
that's
look
magic.
at that.
Okay,
That's lovely.
we're gonna have to do a poll. Which one is cuter?
Oh, it's not mine. I don't even want to be in the running.
So that you always want to, I think just in general, good practice is to pull before you start working so that you're working with whatever the most recent is.
Got it. But I guess what I'm questioning also is, in other words, so with certain things, let's look at take Google Docs for a minute. Google Docs, we're working at the same time and we see the changes. This we don't. So as I'm making changes and you're making changes, we're changing, it doesn't merge those changes.
No, it doesn't. And it's actually a good thing that it doesn't, because let's say one of the code, let's say one person's code was not correct and it broke the whole thing. So that's the thing. It's like if you're, let's talk about even a website, right? Or Google Docs, right? They have a team working on some web-based tool and they're building a feature. You don't want to make your changes right to the master, because then you're going to break whatever the tool is on using it.
So am I making them to the master?
You were making it to the master because you were too busy making Mike that you didn't hear what I said over here about, So if you're going to work on something, what you should
man.
do is you should make a new branch.
Listen to your damn wife.
Oh, I know.
Right, this is how it always is.
Yeah, she's giving
So,
you hell
yeah.
now. Hey,
No, that's
and
what
listen,
happens.
we have a question about how to kind of teach this out, which is a good question. Would you, and since both of you have done this is a good question about, maybe you do this differently, even about teaching your students how to use GitHub as like developing prior knowledge prior to doing something in MakeCode that you need to use GitHub for, or do you just teach the GitHub piece embedded in lessons about MakeCode? Like do you have to teach people how to use GitHub on its own?
Well, I like to teach everything that I can in context, so I would at least introduce it in something like this. One of the reasons I think we thought this was a great way to do it was because it, for one, solves a very real problem when you're working with MakeCode, and it also is a very easy introduction to GitHub. The other possibility would be to teach it in, if you're doing it with, say, Unity or something, but I would think that it would always be best to do it in context, because otherwise GitHub is looks otherwise pretty confusing.
I agree. I think that, you might set up, like I've actually been struggling, just kind of toying around with where it comes in the order of things. So maybe you do set up the GitHub outside of MakeCode. You spend some time doing that, and you just say, this is what GitHub is. It's a place for storage. It's going to help us greatly. It's really powerful, but for now, we're going to just treat it as storage, right? So on the first days of MakeCode, I would be like, all right, we're using it just to store your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because you're not getting to the collaborating, or even if you did, make a story with your character and somebody else's, but then we have to do it as a branch kind of exercise, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think the collaboration comes a little down the way once people are used to using it, like you said, just because I think that's the most powerful thing at first.
The thing is too, when you, okay, so maybe we can see this, maybe not, but like, okay, so do we have a project? We'll leave those behind. So like when you have more than one, when you have collaborators, so maybe this was it. When you have collaborators and you have, and you have multiple branches, right? So the master is the active and the main, and then there's a branch. So if you build a feature, you have to go through a review process. So that's making a pull request. So you would initiate a pull request and you would say, hey, this is what I did. Can we beta test it? Can we this, that? Can we review it? And then you decide to merge. Like you wouldn't say, I'm just going to throw this on the master. Like you would always, I think part of the teaching of GitHub and innovation and building features and collaborating is that you teach making a branch. So you have your own copy to work on. I have my own copy to work on. And then we get together and we review what the code was. Like, how did this accomplish what we set out to do? Does it work? Does it look good? All of those things before you decide to merge as part of the process.
I think that's huge. And one of the things that scares me a little sometimes about GitHub is the fact that either A, you end up with all these branches, or I guess the goal is to always ultimately commit to the master. But like you said, and I guess that the idea would be typically to also introduce the idea of like a project manager, where like if this is Kathy's code and I'm the one, I should, like I did before, I apologize, I should not do anything to the master. But if I update a patch and then Kathy is the one who is always committing anything to the master, that's like workflow with all of this, I think, is a huge piece to really consider. And like you say, I think that should be taught, as that's the kind of stuff our kids don't understand until we kind of provide them with a little guidance.
Well, and we don't understand it either.
True.
I mean, I'm used to being like, when I worked on when I was in the Moms Can Code thing, I was like, why can't I just put it to the master? I mean, I'm changing one word.
Right.
The master, but I'm not the best team player, so I also disagreed with some other things, but we're so used to like, oh, this is just mine, let me just do this. And so I think delegating a project manager is really important, because that's how these things work in the real world. And then the review process, that's really important for the kids.
Yeah.
Is that the feedback and the iteration there. I said it again.
Yep, I love it. And to further discuss AJ's question about the teaching it, all of these streams we're posting to my class YouTube channel, and part of the reason for that is I'm building this great library for my students too. So my students are all invited to these as sort of my live sessions while we're here on distance learning, but then they also have the ability to view them. And as I start building quests and things that would incorporate these, boom, I already have some teaching materials that they could take at their own pace. So like, I feel like what we just went through provides a pretty great introduction, and especially if kids follow it step by step as they need it, I think that'll prove helpful. So of course, everybody's welcome to use these resources, and I'll even drop it in.
I just want to show what it looks like. The pull request, it's kind of cool, because what GitHub will do is it'll compare the code, and I'll say, oh, here's the master. Let's compare it to this branch. And it'll look for conflicts, and it'll tell you this is good to merge. It's not like somebody made a major change, they made a change, but it's not going to conflict with anything that exists. And I guess the other thing I kind of want to show, this was regarding the PNG. So this is one of the things I worked on this is not the one. This is the easy one. All right, so GitHub test 1, I think.
I love that it shows the code down there.
So that's where the PNG comes in. It's like it's hanging out in the README.
So smart.
So all the things that you add in terms of your progress, and then here is. This code is so cute, I can't even tell you.
So it makes it easy then for that patch for you to see what I added and be like, oh, okay.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. Oh my goodness, wait. All right, I'm just going to copy this because I want to use it. So if you remember earlier, it said import, and then here's the import a URL. You go to clone or download, and you just copy this URL, and that will let you import it. So import URL and paste, go ahead.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, so that's so great, because I thought I had to go into the Makecode folder, but that is the...
You could do either. No, don't go into the Makecode folder.
In other words, this right here is everything I need to bring into... Oh, that's so awesome. Okay.
Don't go into these folders, because it's just going to, the kids will be totally confused.
Yeah, I agree.
This is all the Makecode team said, oh, this is how we're going to do this. This is the automation that they added for the integration. So this is the thing that I did with, I was laughing because, whoa, look, fire.
Oh.
No. No, and you're on fire.
No, you're on fire. It's funny. She does crack
All
herself
right.
up.
Well, listen. That's as good a way of ending this as anything. Friends that are watching, we're going to be back again at 3:00 this afternoon doing a bunch of this nonsense all over again with Kathy and Steve and myself. On the NASEF channel and also on Inside Participate. Please. I know I beat a dead horse mentioning it, but it is the best way for you to know when everything is going on and happening. Make sure you're following Steve's channel, and then go and click on the Inside Participate profile in chat or something like that, and go follow that channel as well. Actually, and if you do go follow Inside Participate, down at the bottom of the channel in the profile section, you'll see some of the communities that we're highlighting, the game-based learning community in particular. Go click on that. It'll take you to Participate, where you can join the game-based learning community and kind of carry on the conversation from this right into the community, share links and resources and ideas, and ask questions. and get answers. And that is how we all kind of learn together. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back this afternoon. Hope everyone stays healthy and safe. Have a fantastic day.
And thanks,
Bye,
Kathy.
everyone. Thanks. Oh, thanks. Bye.